In order to collect data, we posted an online survey. These were the questions.
How old are you? Have you ever eaten Sour Patch Kids? If so, what is your favorite color of Sour Patch Kids? Red, green, blue, yellow, or orange?
The goal of the project was to see if the colors were equally distributed in a package of Sour Patch Kids, and to see if color preference is dependent upon age. We used a goodness of fit test to see if the color distribution data fit a specific pattern, in this case an even distribution. Our null hypothesis was that there is no difference in proportion of color. This was also our claim. Our alternative hypothesis was that there is a difference in proportion of color.
To compute the test statistic, we subtracted the expected value from the corresponding observed value, squaring the result and dividing the expected value and finding the sum.
We calculated our critical value using the calculator program inverse chi-squared. We used 0.05 as alpha and 4 as our degree of freedom. We found our degree of freedom by subtracting 1 from our number of categories, which was 5. Our critical value was 9.488, and our test statistic was 1.683. This means that the test statistic does not fall within the critical region.
Because the test statistic is not within the critical region, we failed to reject the null hypothesis. There is not enough evidence to reject the claim that there is no difference in proportion of color. This means that the colors are evenly distributed.
To see whether color preference is dependent upon age, we used a chi-squared test for independence. Our null hypothesis was that color preference is independent of age. This was also our claim. The alternative hypothesis was that color preference is dependent upon age. To find the test statistic, we arranged our data in a contingency table as shown here.
For each cell, we multiplied the corresponding row sum by the column row sum and divided by the grand total to get the expected value.
We found our critical value by using the same method as the goodness of fit test. We calculated the degrees of freedom by multiplying the rows subtracted by 1 and the columns subtracted by 1. The critical value was 9.488.
Because the test statistic is not within the critical region, we failed to reject the null hypothesis. There is not enough evidence to reject the claim that color preference is independent of age.
Our data may not be representative of the population because it was a convenience sample. There were also more responses from 18-year-olds than 17-year-olds. Since we posted our survey on Facebook, there were responses that were meant as a joke. Therefore, we had to edit those out. This means that some responses that we used in our data could also have been jokes. For future surveys, the Sour Patch Kids company could test to see if color preference changes over time using a more representative sample. They could also see if there was a preference of color and adjust their distributions accordingly, because our data suggests blue is the most popular, but there is no weighted amount of blue in their packaging.